Hello everyone! Today our special guest is Riley Barker. He is a cinematographer who worked as second assistant camera on the smash hit film Obsession. And we dive into cinematography, lighting, and what it takes to tell a story visually. We also go into some interesting behind the scenes stories on making Obsession. Enjoy. Your dad had an interesting story. He was talking about how you and your brother, like growing up for your birthday parties when you were younger, like you're like, hey, I want to have let's shoot a movie with my friends, like instead of like a pool party or something.
Right.
So like at a young age, when did you first like hit you that you had this love for film and cinema?
I think it really stems from our nanny. Our nanny and pawpaw, we would stay at their place all the time, and I grew up playing sports, so I was always practicing, and in my brain it was always get through this because when we're done we're going to go to Redbox and rent
Okay.
as many movies as we want, and we're going to watch them that night. We would and it felt normal. Like now getting older, it's not extremely common to go and watch three movies back to back to back, and we did it all the time. So I think it really stemmed from that, and then Curry and I, we grew up with our own channels as well, and we made skits and stuff. And now that's a bad idea. It's actually the same channel. A lot of them are just privated, but we did that because we love movies and we wanted to act. And in order to make a video, you have to record a video. So we ended up doing it just to be on the screen. We did it to act, and through doing that it was like, oh, this is cool. Like it's fun making stuff as well. But I think I moved out to LA and wanted to write and direct, and it just changed. Just like Curry, he moved out here and he wanted to act, and I came out here wanting to write and direct, and I like had one cinematography class and was like, oh no, this is what I want to do.
And you got so much more information accessible to you. I don't ever want to make it seem, I talk about it enough, but it's like I'm not shitting on film schools.
Yeah.
It's just, even when I was getting into, I knew enough people in the business. They're like, don't go, because like it's all accessible now, and I love that too. Like when you guys went out there for one thing, want to be another thing, or you went to a school for it or whatnot. I think your dad said like the best thing you guys got of it was like networking, which
Yeah,
you know what I
100%.
mean.
100%. I mean, I still live with classmates to this day, and
Oh,
I
okay.
I will continue to, like they're my close friends, and that's what it was. I mean, I started school. Curry kind of did that. He went to school, dropped out after 2 semesters, and I went to school with that plan. It was like, I'm gonna go for a year and then leave. And that's exactly what I did. I met some friends. I learned that cinematography was my passion, and left and just started trying to AC on stuff and just make money for rent. And somehow I've been doing it.
Also, I remember talking with your dad about this, because right now everybody looks at it like, obviously Obsession being such a massive success, they look at like this kid came out of nowhere. I'm like, this guy's, you and your brother, you guys have done like hundreds of like micro shorts, and people don't see, they see people on the podium, they don't see all the trials, tribulations, figuring things out, how what our audience is reacting to. And also your dad had a good way of wording it, and that's what I want to bring up with you, your mindset on this and how you approach things. Is you guys use YouTube as a medium
Hmm.
because it's free and everybody's on it, but you guys, it's kind of like, not distasteful. Like you don't view yourself as YouTubers. We are filmmakers using
100%.
YouTube as a medium. Can you go into that? Because right now everybody looks at like your brother or Kane Parsons and a couple other people like Markiplier. Oh, this YouTube wave. It's like no.
Yeah.
These are filmmakers using this medium that's going on. So can you go into your mindset on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to fall into that trap, and even comparing those people to this exact same thing, like Markiplier and all that. I think they are YouTubers, and you can have that side of it, but I think Markiplier making Iron Lung is not him being a YouTuber in any degree. That's him being a filmmaker. That's watching his YouTube shorts that he's done, and sure they're like YouTube specials, so it's easy to feel that way, but there's so many setups, so many things that went into that. That's not a YouTuber brain. It doesn't take that. You know what I mean? It takes way more than that. And exactly like you said, though, I think it's an amazing medium for that. It's an amazing platform to put stuff like that up and to push for that. I mean, even Instagram and TikTok, where it's vertical. I mean, the
Right.
goal was always, always, always. When I started helping them and I started shooting them, now I've shot hundreds for them. Is how do we make even just coverage as cinematic as possible, And vertical was honestly a great way of doing that because it's an easy way to hide lights, get as close to
Right.
as
Right.
frame as you can. It made things easier. But no, it's always been how do we do this to the highest degree, and it'll always be that.
Beautifully put. Yeah, I think that's the approach to it. Maybe you could go into this too, because I always believe there's more than one way to get to a goal. It's not just this predestined path that everybody else is doing. And it doesn't mean you have to even go, outside of the box, but do things your way or what works for you, or what comes up, or opportunities that you guys created for yourselves. So maybe I think this benefits people who have been filmmakers for decades, as well as people who are watching this maybe brand new to filmmaking side. What can you kind of advice you can give that the way you guys approach to it, and perhaps maybe that's why you have your own success. Like I said, people didn't see the countless like figuring it out, and the audience didn't react to this clip this way, so we pivot this way. What kind of advice can you get to give to people, whatever medium and approach they're doing, how your approach worked for you, and they could possibly figure out their own dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of those weird things because I'm still trying. I'm still constantly trying to level up my game. I'm still trying to get more gigs, shoot more stuff. I just did a couple short films back to back to back for mostly for free. One of them I got paid for, and it was very little. I'm still trying to make my own path, and I'm trying to catch up with Curry because eventually I'm gonna take Taylor's job. I'm gonna take it from him, and that's the goal. And Taylor and I joke about it. He's a million times he's a million steps ahead of me, and I just got to take those steps. My advice would be is like Jim Carrey's, be a yes man. Is yes, 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 yes. I'm saying yes to as many things as I can, even stuff that's not cinematography exactly, and it's videography, and it's just like being on set doing socials. It's all reps, right? It's all camera work. It's all, I mean, those mostly are just reps for like exposure. That's how I always see it. It's a test for
Right.
exposure. How do I on the fly expose this properly? I really think it stems to saying yes. It's just doing as much as you can and trying your hardest at it no matter what.
That's amazing. For you specifically with cinematography, who inspires you the most? Like if you had a Mount Rushmore, like boom, I got to pigeonhole you into only four. That's
Yeah.
the hard part. Give me four, we can at least go on here.
Man, I mean, it is a hard question, but the easiest one that comes to mind is Roger Deakins.
Oh
It's
man, yeah.
I mean, it's spherical, it's human nature, it's wide shots to feel the whole thing. It's beautiful composition and the most naturalistic lighting as possible. I think if I could accomplish anything that is anything, it would be to just replicate him to the fullest degree. I mean, copy everything he's done. If I could just take his career,
Yeah.
um, I think another great one would be Greg Fraser, of course. Greg Fraser is amazing. Yeah, I mean it's difficult. There's so many amazing cinematographers out there, and there's so many things that you watch, like Perfect Days. I think Perfect Days is one of my most like my favorite films for cinematography, and I don't even know who the cinematographer is on that, and that's not great. I think it's some German guy maybe, but yeah, I think Roger Deakins is the one. I think I have something in common with him, which I've totally just started feeling that way because of him, which is just if it isn't possible for the human eye to experience that, then it isn't right. Like split diops, I hate them. Anything
Right.
that's impossible for a human eye to do, I'm not a fan of it. Like it's a medium for art that is showcased in time and
Mm.
through visuals. And if you can capture something that a human would capture, I think you're gonna feel a lot closer to it.
And I think it's also kind of knowing the artist you want to be, but also on the same. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing this like your first year or you're like 10, 20, 30 years into it. You're always open to like learning new things, or I know some people go experimental over here. Maybe this project or shot requires something else over there. Let's go into some of the projects too. I mean, I know you did earlier things, but like as far as public hitting, like warnings,
Yeah.
can you go into as a cinematographer with that, your approach to it, building tension, your overall approach to pulling that off, and what that required for you and creatively took?
I mean, Warnings was actually insanely easy. It's working with Curry. I've been working with Curry since I was like 12, I guess you could say. Curry and I have a working language that we've established that is just so easy. I think we maybe one night started shot listing stuff and we were just kind of like, we'll be fine. And we just stopped. It's, and it's also Curry, of course. Curry has everything in his head so clear and it's all for the edit. And that's how I've started to really
Hmm.
talk with directors is for the edit, which is great because I've also edited a lot of bad idea now at this point, and I've gotten a lot of knowledge on that end. And shooting for the edit is the best thing you can do, and that's also when you start to realize you can live in these really long spaces, these really still worlds, and you just let the story unfold. And so for that, that was the communication. There was just, how can we set up a shot where we could play this out like a play and see and feel everything, and we don't feel like we're too far either, right? So like the hallway shot where he enters from the door and then he goes room to room and then he kind of plants mid frame. At that point, it's the draw is how do we get him closer that feels real and get him planted in a spot that as an audience we feel like we're now close enough to him to connect. And where do we end off on the scene on that? And that's why we end right at the end of the phone call. You don't really need to hear any of the phone call until that point, you know.
Right.
And that's been the goal.
Whatever the facet or side of telling the story, whether you're the cinematographer or the director or an actor or screenwriter, whatever, it's all storytelling. And we're
Yeah.
like, this is like edit in camera, is a very common terminology wise. I think that's such an important thing. And I love what you're saying there because that's what told the story. The shot set up or set this up like it act out like a play. Going from editing is you're directing when you're doing that. You're basically almost like a screenwriter when you're doing that. You're
Yeah.
everything. Let's go into that too. So like with Obsessionists, are there any kind of like behind the scenes stories that maybe people haven't heard yet? I know this has been covered like crazy, but
Yeah.
let's like put us in your shoes. You guys are shooting that. Any behind the scenes stories that really pop out to you on your experience of making that? Did you guys even know like, hey, this is gonna explode? I usually don't when you're in the middle of a project. Anything like that?
Man, I think a very common thing that was happening on set was every single person, every single day would talk about how special it felt.
Hmm.
Um, Everyone's worked on so much things and so many great things, but everyone was like, "This one is different. This one is different." Chris O, our gaffer, I remember one day he's setting up lights, and I walk out, and I'm just like, "Wow, this looks insane." And that was also one of the first times I had seen, you know, the difference between seeing like lighting setups with your own eyes between looking at the camera, because Taylor exposes in a he exposes in a great way, and it's a great skill I've learned, which is he actually lowers his ISO um, to expose properly, and that is a very interesting but scary way of exposing because you're he's baking the look in, and I think he does it to defend himself because he's like, this is how I would intend for it to look, so this is how it will look. Because if you shoot at 800 ISO, base ISO, and it's a little safer or healthier image, in the color you have so much more room to change it. And he's like,
Right.
no, I want to do it how I want it, and it's gonna be stuck that way. If you were to try to bring any highlights up, bring any shadows up, the image would be destroyed. You can't do that. So
Right.
yeah, so I think it was special, and everyone knew it, and there was a sense of pride amongst the entire crew the entire time. And me being Curry's brother, I mean, I had no doubt. I had no, we went in, and I mean, even when I heard it was going to happen, and this was like months before, it was like, this is going to be one of the biggest movies of the year when it comes out, and here we are.
It's wild, isn't it? And Riley, you've been through on your end of things, right? From 12 years old and birthday party hosting, filming movies and stuff, all the way through to the Obsession release, and obviously you're working on your new projects and stuff now. Put us in your shoes from like Enigma, that's a bad idea, warnings, all the way through to Obsession. What do you think on set made that feeling where it's like this was special?
Well, it was definitely different. I mean, on mornings, Enigma, and all of that's a bad idea. It is always just Curry, Cooper, and I, and maybe one extra person. Typically, my roommate Emilio Flores, and usually that's just when we need a hand, and I just call him up. I'm like, hey, can you please come help, like move some lights, and he'll show up. But you know, Warnings was what was Curry and I. We were moving lights around, we were setting up the camera, and this was 20, 25 people, sometimes more. And the thing when I realized this is going to be insane was just talking to some people and thinking I know a lot, I've done all these short films, I know a
Right.
lot, and realizing like I know nothing and these guys are pros. And I learned the most I've ever learned in my life in those 24 days ever,
Wow.
just shadowing Taylor, watching Chris O light, watching Bish, the best boy in board op, and he's just hitting cues on his board like just by eye because we didn't have enough time to like program them, and it's like wow, like these guys are legit, and I need to get better than them. So
Wow.
yeah, I
Wow.
mean,
And that everything just kind of kept it pulls you forward, right?
yeah, it pulls you forward 100%. And I think for me, I was fortunate enough to actually be, and I was credited as additional cam up because Taylor, we had an amazing DIT, Andrew Nibby. And that was another thing I learned. I always thought DITs were just like, they just offload cards and they're just in charge
Right.
of media. And I was like, no, no, like DITs are way more than that. And I need a DIT because this is insane. But he's got, he's got four monitors up and he's got like all of these charts up. He's got his waveforms. He's got all of these things. And Taylor's just sitting there staring and I'm learning what he's looking at. But I was also lucky enough that, we had a lot of camera moves. So Taylor would just ask me to go do the camera moves so he could watch everything. And eventually, we rehearsed it 40 times and I've done it 40 times and Taylor's coming up to cam op and he's like, "You know what? No, you've done it like perfectly." Like all these like or well, perfectly. But,
Right.
after 40 times you get pretty good at it.
Right.
And so
Right.
I got to cam op like a lot of the movie because of that and I was very very fortunate. That was an awesome time.
Yeah, everything's a learning experience. Going from before to that, like three guys versus like 20 plus people, that could be overwhelming. And I feel like your and everybody's outlook was just like, obviously we're all on a team here, but like it's all learning, it's all collaboration, it's all, there's no, I guess some people in the industry obviously can have like ego or fear of
Mm.
their job or, fill in the blank, whatever negative bullshit. But
Yeah.
like you go into your mindset going from like you guys doing your first like films together, first like the YouTube channel that eventually, became, that's a bad idea, to Enigma, so on and so forth. Even now, you just gave us a nice little behind the scenes, like learning on film. So, how important is it for people of any branch of filmmaking to be on film on set?
I think it's the most important thing. I think even as a director, just seeing the way a set works, seeing how an AD makes calls, and even as simple as, you're going to start calling the slate while sound's rolling before camera speeds, but you got to make sure the slate's in because the moment the camera speeds, you have to have the slate in there for the edit. Because if that's not in there, it complicates everything, Because if you don't know that, you're going to get, as a director specifically, you're going to be so pissed. You're going to be so annoyed when things are taking an extra 45 seconds and you're ready to go and your actors are ready to go. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but if you don't do this, it's gonna waste an hour of your time later for every single shot. And that's I think is the simplest degree. I think it's the most important thing ever, just to work. And that was part of why I dropped out. And that is why a lot of people say not to go to film school because they do put it on a less practical form. It's more about homework, it's more about studying. And you do get to make short films through film school and that part is amazing, but you're already paying for it yourself.
Right.
They're not financing the short films. You're paying for school and you're financing your short films. So if you can and you're fortunate enough to just start making your own short films, you should just do that. And if you're in the area and you have other work going on around you, then you do it for free. You show up and your hands to help. You're on set for free. I mean, I've done countless things for free and I just did, it doesn't
Right.
really end. It's It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. You will learn 4 years of film school within in a 5 day shoot. And if you're on a 20-day shoot, you're gonna learn way more than you ever wish you could learn than film
But that,
school.
that was another crazy thing. 20 days shoot for Obsession. Obviously, there's a lot of planning going into that, but that's a pretty tight schedule. So
Yeah, I mean it was extremely tight. We were moving on really fast, and I think they had a couple, maybe 1 day to pre-light. Maybe it was a couple. I could be wrong on that. And that was just for Bear's house. So we started at Bear's house. We were there for a week and a half, shot out his house, and then after that it was company moves every single day. There were really no pre-lights, so we were just on the run. Yeah,
I mean, I think I just heard recently, the studio wanted him to make Baird the hero.
yeah.
And I mean, at a point where it was like, I've met enough writer directors and things like that. They get approached by studio or a producer or whatnot, where it's like, do this, and if you say no, that could be like, oh, that could have been my chance ruined if I don't say yes. As a cinematographer, or what you saw your brother go through with Obsession on this subject I just brought up, how important is it to stick to your guns, and that your artist integrity, if you will, to hell with the outcome. Like, I know this is my vision.
I mean, I think it's it's extremely important. I think, and it's hard to tell. It's always hard to say. You know, he could have written Bear as a hero, and sure, maybe it would have been a good movie still, but it wouldn't have been the same movie. I saw that article yesterday, and I was super proud of Curry because a lot of people don't know this. Probably not many people know this at all. But Curry was writing Obsession when me and him were living in the same, we were sharing a room and we had bunk beds. The fact that he's offered this much more money to do anything, but it's not his thing, and he's turning it down is crazy. I mean, we were in the thick of it, sharing beds. I mean, and he was in the top bunk. He had it way worse. He had it way worse. I mean, he was probably maybe 2 feet away from the ceiling, and we had popcorn ceilings. So, I mean, it was probably he'd bump into it, it probably hurt, you know. But yeah, he. I think it's extremely important. I think, and same goes for cinematography. I think if you have an idea and you and the director have talked about it and you're in love with this idea and people are pushing away from it, you fight for it always, always. It's easy to give up. It's a lot harder to work for it, and usually things that are hard to work for are better. That's I think that's the thing.
I heard years ago, Bruce Campbell, he had a way of wording it. Not a tough shoot, but it's not easy to make. And but everybody's trying hard, and you rise to that occasion. You tend to make something as a product, if you will. The after of that is like, turns out to be like really good, and the audiences love it. So happens his experience when everybody's like having fun and like lollygagging on set. Oh, this is great! Like, it's like a big party. He's always winds up being kind of like a stinker or
Yeah,
bombs or falls flat. So it kind of coincides with that a little bit, where I don't know, maybe it's a rise of necessity. Like, oh, we don't have a ton of money. Like Obsession was shot for under $1 million, and it's like outperforming things that had
yeah,
like over 100 million. It's crazy. So
that's
maybe
great.
like all the stuff you've worked on, and maybe you could tie this into upcoming projects that you're okay to talk about, of like on set, if we're rising to a necessity, whether it's a lack of money or time or whatever that is, we're kind of forced to be more creative, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think it does tie into making a movie is impossible. Everything is against you in every single way. So if you're having like if you're just lollygagging and you're having a great time, I mean, don't get me wrong. I always have a good time on every set. You could go in and be a negative Nilly and have a terrible time, no matter what. But it's work, you know. You're going in. You're not gonna. I worked at Starbucks for 3 years. I'm not having an amazing time at Starbucks, you know, every day. You have people yell at you. You have like it's real world shit happens, you know.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing on set. People can get heated. You're in a tight spot with a lot of people. It's usually extremely hot. You have hot lights, and things get difficult. You're moving quick. It is literally impossible to make a movie. And having all of these things against you, primarily time. If you are pushing to do something that's already difficult on top of that, it's gonna be hard. And that's why if you persevere and you get through it, you do have a better product by the end of it. You just do. You're pushing the boundaries. And I think pushing the boundaries is always the goal. And on my last short I just did, we did 19 pages in a day and a half. It was it was it was it was awful, but we got probably some of the best stuff I've shot personally, and I had an amazing crew, um, an amazing gaffer Chuck, and he had his whole team come out. We just pushed through. We went like 4 hours over. It was like a 17-hour day. It was awful, but it was seriously an amazing time. That's the thing. It's easy to think it was awful and then just assume that you're having a bad time, and it wasn't. That's why we're here, right? Like, is to make movies.
Like, let's also talk about this side of things as a cinematographer side of things. It's actually a pretty damn physical job. I mean, people think lenses and stuff. Like, I was like director and cinematographer. It's hardcore guerrilla indie filmmaking what I was doing. You've lived through that quite a bit, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like mentally drained, physically drained, but I'm so damn happy. I don't
Yeah,
know what that is, and that's what pulls you forward. Whether it's a smaller production or a bigger production, everything in between, it's a mentally and quite physically taxing thing. But we would rather be doing nothing else, man. It's a
nothing.
blast.
Yeah, I mean, I also just did another short in 29 Palms, which is like the desert. I don't know if you've been to 29 Palms,
No,
but it's the desert. And I mean, yeah, I'm carrying like a 15-pound camera all day. It hits like 107 degrees Fahrenheit at some point. The sun is directly over you. There's no cloud in the sky. And I'm the last person to sit in shade. I mean, my AC's sitting in shade because he has to, so he can see to full focus. And I'm like, just looking at him like, oh, you bitch, you know? But like, we had a guy start throwing up. He was sick. It was too hot. You know, he was dehydrated. And I was lucky enough to like, I knew the shoot was coming, so I started drinking as much water beforehand as possible. And I did fine. But I mean, those are 12-hour days and 100 plus degrees in the sun in the desert. You know, I mean, that was also brutal. But you're exactly right. You look back and you're having the best time of your life, you know? And almost I did 3 shorts back to back, so it was like 15 days. And you finish and you can't wait until you're done. You can't wait till that day
right.
off. You get that day off and you're depressed, dude. You're like, what am I have like I should be doing something. You feel bad. Like you're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's funny. The more I talk about this, I'm like, you kind of got to be a bit of a madman
Yeah.
or mad woman, whichever, to go into it, because it's you're gonna put yourself through psychological abuse, physical abuse. It's gonna be hot as hell, cold as hell, whatever. I remember one scene I'm shooting. I'm holding the gimbal. I'm calling like roll sound speed. All right, action. I'm like on a gimbal, kneeling down, and then when you cut, I'm like, oh shit, I can't get back up. So,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you
but I
got
got the
the
shot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all for the love of it and the shot. I love that, man. I think maybe you can go into this aspect too. So, I mean, having shot so many things, film and finished so many projects at this stage, and I know, like you said, like, hey, I'm still just starting out, but like, that's important too. Way further along than most. Most people I meet haven't even, they're still on their idea phase. They haven't even done development, let alone film anything. So, what words of inspiration could you give potential filmmakers and also filmmakers? Maybe they just finished a project and they're kind of like sitting in this void of like, well, what do I do? Like, you guys just like, how you either you attack at it, or if I'm not inspired, how do I get onto that next thing? So that's a two-parter, I suppose. People who haven't done anything yet, or people who have finished a project, but like, it's like, get on the horse, man, and get the next thing going.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is that it's the answer to both is the exact same, because you don't want to overthink it. Someone that has done something before is in the exact same boat as someone that's never done something before because they're not doing anything. I think the answer to to all of it is to do something, right? It's exactly like Curry has said before: is make your shitty films and keep doing it. They're gonna progressively get better and better and better. They're gonna get less shitty, and it might take 50 short films, but that's also why do what you can with what you can. You know, if you need to make 50 shitty short films, don't put thousands of dollars into every single one of them, right? Just do it. Make it on your phone. Like we all have phones. That is how we started. We did it on our phones. We didn't get good cameras, and even then they're good cameras. I mean, they're like as low end as you can with $1,000, you know, or as high end as you can with $1,000. That's it. It's 1,000 flat for our camera. Make it on your phone. That's what we did, you know. And nowadays phones are even better than when we started.
Right.
So, like, I mean, if we had the phones we had when we started, when I was like 12 and he was like 16, I mean, we would have been freaking out.
Oh my, what was it like 28 years later? It was shot on a iPhone 15 Pro.
Yeah, 15 Pro, but they did have like, I mean, they were shooting on probably like Panavision lenses, you know. They have
Well, it
like
was
some
dolled up. I
crazy,
mean,
yeah, they have some crazy like iPhone camera, the PL mount adapter that they could put whatever lens they want on it. But you can still. I remember we used to have this thing called, I think it's called like Motive or something, and it's like a phone case where you can buy lenses through them and like put lenses on your phone. You could go that route if you want, but like you could still just do it with just your phone, you know? I mean, and even our old videos, it was the audio was through the phone as well. We didn't like use mics or anything. It was just it was what it was, and with the right editing software, I mean, you can clean that audio up a little bit, you
Mhm.
know. It's not going to be good, but it doesn't matter. It needs to be a shitty film.
Right, right. I love that because even the phones now, let alone when you guys started, that's light years ahead of the camcorders in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
We said earlier, vertical video as well. It's like, okay, I want this, or take some basic lighting, or time the right time of day for that
Yeah.
lighting. Just tell your story, make your film, or how you would do in the beginning, right? Like experiment, like the shot list, right? We put this here and that angle. I mean, let's kind of take some of the things you've done now and at the level you're at now. I believe I know on your social media, like Sony FX6, like really that's your jam. Obviously, going into other technicalities of what you like. I'm not sure what you prefer to shoot on now. Maybe let's go a little gearhead here. What you prefer to shoot on now, and then like hey, this I want to do this and that, shoot on this next.
Yeah, own an FX6 and I've shot a lot on the FX6, but I definitely prefer to shoot on the Alexa series. Alexa Mini I've shot on, Alexa Mini LF I've shot on. I definitely would love, I haven't shot on yet, but we use it on Obsession, the Alexa 35. I
Yeah.
think that's an insane camera. And if we were to go that far, I would love, love, love to shoot on the 265, the Alexa 265. I mean, that's like hard to get right now. It's rented out everywhere. I mean, everyone uses it. So I think, you know, the Alexa series is amazing, but so are Reds. Like anything that's accessible that's on the cinema line is gonna do the job, just like a phone would. And actually, I think what's more important than and this is coming from a cinematographer, so it hurts to say, but more important than any of those things is sound, right? That's how found footage films work, right? Like
Good
you,
point. Great point.
you'll excuse the cinematography, you'll excuse the visual storytelling if the sound is good. And that is something that Curry has taught me as we were growing up making videos. And I've always taken it to heart. That's why any project I ever get on, I'm like, who's doing sound? Like, what is
Yeah.
that? Because sound is the most important thing. You could shoot a phone, you could shoot like 28 years later. The sound is amazing, so it doesn't matter what they shoot on.
That's a fantastic point, though. Yeah, you're gonna watch like Blair Witch Project or something. I mean, I know it's part of the experience, but or how many times are you on social media and you're like, "This is cool," but oh man, it's like
Yeah. It
nails on a
turns you off.
chalkboard.
It
Yeah.
turns you off so fast. I mean, even in found footage, they do tend to like editorially they'll kind of make the sound bad sometimes, but for
Well,
the most part, it's high quality sound. It is for 90% of the movie. You know.
now I seen you post some things recently on upcoming things you've shot. I don't know if I can go in. Are you working on your dad's project at all?
Yeah, we wrapped that last
It was a
week.
good tape.
Yeah, good tape. Yeah.
Could we go into any? He's keeping the story on the down low. So,
Yeah.
but like your experience as far as like, I'm not sure. Was that the as far as official thing? I know you guys have done stuff with your dad before, but was that your first official thing working
Yeah.
with your dad? What was that experience like?
That was, I mean, that was great. I mean, working with him was truly like an experience of realizing, oh, like this is where me personally as a cinematographer have gained like leadership skills, right? Like, I mean, all of these positions, you're boss, right? HOD departments, your boss, and it's like my dad's a leader. He's a natural leader. So working with him was realizing not only is he a natural leader, but we're very similar in the way that we like to lead people, and that was a great experience. And it was, I don't know how much I haven't talked to him about this. I don't know what I can or can't say, but our little sister stars in it. She did a great job. I mean, she's only 7 years old, so it was kind of just like point and shoot, and we're just gonna keep telling her what to do until we get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was such a fun time. I flew out with some of my really close friends and girlfriend, and we went and we were there and we helped, and I think it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great short film.
amazing. And that's another thing that's coming up in a lot of people like commenting on everything coming out, whether it's Obsession or the interviews like I have with your dad, and I'm sure it'll come up even post interview with this. Is like you guys have like this really awesome, tight knit, creative family. Is that just like a natural, intrinsic part of the way you grew up? Like, was there always this creative stronghold in your house, so to speak? Is that where you guys kind of get your creativity and your artistic voice, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like it's one of those things that you don't think about. Looking back, our dad was always in his office writing, and we kind of didn't really, I mean, he's writing like adult stories, like horror stories, and we're
Right.
kids, so we never really read them or anything until we were way older. But, he didn't hide it from us, but we were kids, we didn't really care.
Right.
Um, and same with our mom. Our mom is one of the like most amazing artists I've ever met as well. Like she draws, she paints, and it's some of the most detailed drawings you'll ever see. And she actually did the graphic design for she did the design for the One Wish Willow.
I was gonna bring that up. I think that's when it really dawned on me. Like, wow, this whole family is just like super creative.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Yeah, it is weird. It's like I don't think about it at all until someone says it, and you're like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, even like with our dad, it's just kind of feels normal. Him asking me to fly out and shoot the short film, although it hasn't really happened, it didn't feel weird. It was like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course I'll come out. He's been writing for a long time and recently got into screenwriting, and he'll just shoot me a script over and I'll read it, and we'll just have like an hour phone call about it, and then that's kind of it. And it's happened a lot now because he's written a lot. No, there's never been anything to it other than I guess it was just the environment we were around. So
Yeah.
it was what it was, and I think too though it we weren't pushed in any way. It was just us. We just wanted to make stuff. It was really Curry if we wanted to go that route. Curry is obsessed with making stuff, and as a kid, I was just like, he thought it was so cool, so I thought it was cool. He wanted to act, so I wanted to act, and it was one of those things. And then he moved to LA, and we're 4 years apart, so he moved to LA, and then I just had started high school. I kind of like left that behind because he was gone, and I was alone, like not alone, but like starting my own thing, and
Hmm.
it kind of started slowly creeping back as I was finishing high school. Like, man, I miss making stuff with Curry. That's what I want to do. Like, that was awesome.
I hear
And
that the most too. Like people used to make like their own films, short films at home and stuff with some friends or whatever, and they stop for like years, decades, whatever, and it always comes back to I really miss doing that.
yeah,
When I interviewed your dad, he had a funny way of wording it because he says like you guys actually inspired him. It's actually the other way around. He's like people see I'm like doing screenwriting now. He's like no, I'm new to that. I did writing, but I'm new to screenwriting. And he says I like to call myself a nepo dad. Uh,
yeah, yeah. It
even
was,
though he's like everybody's paving their own way.
mm,
Uh, What are your goals? Like, where do you see your career going? If you, well, don't break the wish, but
Yeah.
have you had your wish going into it moving forward, like director of photography or director or near future steps?
I mean, for me it is to keep shooting short films narratively and to eventually shoot a feature, hopefully soon. I'm not like someone that needs a lot of things. I just want to be comfortable, my bills to be paid, and to be a cinematographer. That's kind of my whole goal. Somehow I've made it for like the last 3 years on my own, just shooting stuff and not having like a day job, and that being my day job. And as of now, that kind of feels like I've made it, like that is the dream. But no, it is to shoot features. I think like a year that would be like, okay, I've made it, would be like if I shot like 3 features in a year, you know?
I just realized I have to ask you this part for the cinematographers watching side of things. People who are, doing a full time job or school or whatnot. What advice do you have for them to still squeak this in and how to fit that into their life and then also segue and turn that into facing this as a full-time career? So what advice do you have for people who are like, man, I'm just like super busy, I want to get into this, to balancing that and then going into turn this to a full-time career? What kind of advice do you have for that?
I think the best advice would be to communicate, 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 communicate. If you're busy and you have a busy schedule, communicate that. People will work around you, especially if you're going to work for free. Like,
Right.
you know,
And I
it's
suppose portfolio build and all that's part of it.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's why, a DP is one of the people that is either gonna they're either making some of the most money on crew, or they're one of the only people on crew not being paid, right? Because you are, as a director, one of the only people getting something out of it. So they can leverage that on you. And that's why I still do stuff for free. I would never AC on anything for free anymore, I'm past that point, thankfully.
Yeah.
But like you do get something out of it. But I think that would be the thing is I have talked to a lot of people, and some people think you instantly are going to make money. There's unfortunately uh, a mindset in the industry that you have to do your due diligence, your due time, which is what they really mean by that is working for free. And uh, and it's a pain in the butt, man. It is, but it is your film school. That due diligence is your film school, and you will learn so much in that time. And if in that time you get to shoot, you get to be the cinematographer, then amazing. That's the other thing. I think if you want to be a cinematographer, work on these things as camera. Don't be turned off and just quit because you aren't the cinematographer. You will learn so much just from being on set, being on camera, or even being a gaffer or an electric or a grip. Like any kind of position that puts you on in the crew that is in charge of painting an image, you will learn a tremendous amount. And be willing to do that. Be willing to step out of your comfort zone. Be willing to pick up the phone when someone calls. I think that's the biggest thing, and that's the thing I feel like recently I've only started to get good at, is to like kind of be my own businessman, because it's what
Right.
you are. Yeah, and that's where I think communication comes in. Like if you want to work as a cinematographer and someone asks you to help on a set, tell them that you want to be a cinematographer and that you want to work on camera, that you want to work on as an electric. If you're working for free, most times they'll try to help you out a little bit.
Yeah. Like I said, not everybody sees the countless hundreds of reps of short films and projects that you've done before, and then you're attached to this obsession. That's, I mean, Steven Spielberg is.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I would crap my pants.
Yeah.
Literally,
Crazy.
what?
Yeah.
Um, um, how has that? I mean, obviously, I talked to your dad. I'm sure Curry's done enough interviews, and Cooper and everybody's done enough interviews about it. As a cinematographer, and you doing your next projects, and obviously future things you're setting up. I mean, how has Game Changer, has Obsession affected your life going into what you're doing next?
Yeah, I mean it's been pretty crazy. It's been Yeah, I've gotten a lot of opportunities to work on things, to shoot things that I probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and I not because, um, that I'm not good enough or whatever, but I think it's just giving everyone that was on Crew of Obsession the eyes that they deserve, you know? Like, people are starting to look at people on our crew, and they're starting to like, "Oh, these guys are good," you know? And even me, as I was just a second AC, but I've just started, been getting reached out to shoot things because of that, because they see me and then they're like, "Oh, he's also a cinematographer," you know? It's been pretty cool. I think there's some stuff coming up that hopefully works out, and I'll get to shoot, and it's pretty exciting. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Methods of Fiction. To hear more insights from filmmaking and entertainment industry professionals, subscribe to our video podcast on YouTube. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to follow us there as well. We look forward to having you join us again on the next episode.